Ever heard of an entire army, 5,000 of the toughest soldiers on Earth, just vanishing into thin air? It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it really happened. This is the story of the lost Ninth Legion of Rome, one of history's greatest and most chilling mysteries. So, who were these guys? Imagine the most elite special forces unit of its day. That was Legio Nona Hispana, the Ninth Spanish Legion. These weren't just any soldiers. They were the hardened veterans who had fought alongside Julius Caesar himself. They were the pride of the Roman army, stationed in the northernmost fortress of the known world, a rainy, cold outpost called Iberacum. You might know it today as the city of York, in England. Their mission was simple, but deadly. Guard the empire's northern frontier against the unconquered tribes of Caledonia, what we now call Scotland. For the Romans, this was the edge of the world, a land of mist, mountains, and fierce warriors they called barbarians. And then, silence. The last confirmed record of the Ninth Legion in Britain is a stone inscription, carved in York, dated 108 AD. By the time the next official list of Roman legions was compiled around 165 AD, the Ninth was simply gone. No fanfare, no retirement ceremony, no mention at all. 5,000 men, their eagle standard, their entire identity, wiped from the pages of history. So, what happened? Historians have been fighting over this for centuries, and it all boils down to three incredible theories. The first, and most famous, is the Hollywood ending. Picture this: a massive rebellion erupts in the Scottish Highlands. The Ninth Legion is dispatched, marching north into the swirling mists to crush the uprising once and for all. But they're not the hunters. They're the prey. The Caledonian tribes, masters of their terrain, draw the legion deeper and deeper into a trap. And then, in a brutal, chaotic ambush, the legion is surrounded and annihilated. A desperate last stand, where 5,000 men are cut down, their bodies lost to the bogs and forests of the north. The evidence for this dramatic theory is compelling. Just a few years later, in 122 AD, the Emperor Hadrian himself visited Britain, his first order of business, to build a wall, a massive, 73-mile-long stone barrier stretching from coast to coast. You can't build a wall that's huge unless you are absolutely terrified of what's on the other side. It suggests a catastrophic defeat. A military disaster so complete that Rome decided to wall off an entire country rather than try to conquer it. The fact that another legion, the Sixth, was rushed to Britain to replace them only adds to the sense of a sudden, desperate emergency. This theory of a massacre in the mist is so cinematic, it's no wonder it inspired the movie The Eagle. But not everyone is convinced. Our second theory is less bloody but far more mysterious. What if the Ninth Legion didn't die in Britain at all? What if they were secretly moved? This is the ghost deployment theory. The idea is that the Legion was quietly transferred from Britain to the European mainland, specifically to a place called Nijmegen in the modern-day Netherlands, to fight a completely different war. The proof: archaeologists in Nijmegen have unearthed some tantalizing clues. They found roof tiles stamped with the mark of the Ninth Legion. They even found a bronze pendant bearing their insignia. These artifacts are dated to after 120 AD, a time when the Legion was supposedly already gone. This suggests they were not only active, but were building things on the continent long after they vanished from Britain. But there's a catch. Skeptics argue these items could have belonged to a small detachment, maybe just a few hundred soldiers sent to assist with a construction project. Not the entire 5,000-man legion. If they were transferred, why was it done in secret? Why was their departure from Britain covered up, leaving a gaping hole in the northern defenses? This theory opens up a whole can of worms. Were they moved to fight a secret war? Did they desert? Were they disgraced and quietly disbanded? It's a conspiracy theorist's dream. Then we have our third possibility, which is perhaps the most tragic of all. It's known as the meat grinder theory. The Roman Empire wasn't just fighting in Britain. It was a global power with fires to put out everywhere. Around this time, massive wars were exploding on the empire's eastern frontier. in places like Judea and Parthia, modern-day Israel and Iran. This theory suggests the ninth was pulled out of the cold, damp misery of Britain, marched thousands of miles across the entire empire, and thrown into the scorching heat of the Middle Eastern desert. There, they weren't ambushed in the mist, but were ground down and destroyed in one of the brutal, large-scale wars raging in the East. Historical records show that another legion, the 22nd, also disappeared without a trace in Judea around this time. During the violent Bar Kokhba revolt, it was common practice for Roman leaders to cover up the complete destruction of a legion. News that one of their invincible armies had been wiped out would have been catastrophic for morale across the empire. So, instead of admitting defeat, they would simply erase the legion from the records, as if it never existed. Imagine the fate of those soldiers, surviving the cold of Britain only to perish in the deserts of Judea. Their sacrifice unrecorded, their names forgotten. Their families left to wonder forever what happened to them. So, which one is true? A heroic last stand, a secret conspiracy, or a forgotten tragedy in a distant land? The truth is, we may never know for sure. And it's that uncertainty that makes this story so powerful. It leaves so much to the imagination. If I were writing a novel about this, the possibilities are endless. You could tell it as a political thriller, focusing on the cover-up. Maybe a young scribe in Rome starts investigating why his brother, a soldier in the ninth, suddenly stopped sending letters home. As he digs deeper, he uncovers a conspiracy that goes all the way up to the Emperor Hadrian himself, who will do anything to keep the empire's most shameful secret buried. Or what about a survival story? One legionary, the sole survivor of the Scottish massacre, is captured by the Pictish tribes. He's forced to live among the very people he once called barbarians. Over the years, he might even find a new family, a new love, a new life. Then, years later, the Roman army returns. He would be torn between his old oath to Rome and his new loyalty to the people who spared him. And of course, you could always lean into the supernatural. The Romans were deeply superstitious people. They believed the ancient forests of the north were haunted. What if the Ninth Legion didn't fight a human army at all? What if they marched into the mists and stumbled upon something else entirely? Something ancient and terrifying that the tribes themselves feared. An army of shadows, a creature of legend, something that defies all explanation. A lost army, a terrified emperor, a massive wall, and a mystery that endures for 2,000 years. The story of the vanishing of the Ninth Legion is more than just history. It's a testament to the idea that some secrets get buried so deep, they may never be found. It reminds us that even the mightiest empires can be humbled, and that sometimes the most frightening stories are the ones that are true. Thanks so much for watching. If you love diving into historical mysteries like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you won't miss our next video. Let me know in the comments which theory you think is the most likely. See you next time.